Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. Welcome back. So, if you remember last time, we drove down here into Baja to Punta Abreojos. So, there we sit. We're going to have to see what we can find. Alright, so with a smaller city, as one would expect, we've only got a couple screens worth of routes that we can take. We can drag trucks up to Chattanooga again, so that ends up being the longest distance at 23:30 and also the most pay. Forklifts, slightly shorter, but a little less pay, but also significantly lighter in weight, which means we're going to be able to move much faster, and it has 3 bonuses instead of simply 2, so while this has a lot of icons, this is just a standard delivery. This is urgent. The other thing to take a look at is, do I have something that potentially is rewarding but short? So I've got some of these, but once again, they're just single bonuses. If they were potentially even a couple, it might make sense to continue to linger here, but keep in mind that everything in Mexico is going to be slow. And I don't have a huge desire right now to kind of stay in this area. This one would put us extremely south. It would get us to some new locations, but just not incredibly appealing because eventually I still need to get out. Everything else is relatively long. Even this one's still 1,500 miles. So the difference at speed is not going to be substantial. This actually weighs more, and again, doesn't have as many bonuses. So of all my choices, I'm going to go ahead with this job because it's going to give me over 1,000 experience more than this one will. And in theory, I'm going to assume that I'm going to be able to get it done faster. Just because I'm going to be able to speed up. Even though I've got a good, hefty tractor to pull things, there's not really a reason to go through this. We've pulled both of these loads before, but I'm just going to go with this one. Alright, so we are obviously having that load behind us, so I'm going to have to be careful and try to get myself out of here without obviously causing damage to my truck or anything else. This should allow us to rotate out. And obviously, again, we've just delivered Kenworth, so there's a lot of reasons between those two loads why I'd go with this one. So obviously, because it's a mod map, we're going to the port of Oakland, even though we're here in Mexico. But that's because that's what the modders used as the port location here. It actually looks like I can just go straight. The port of Oakland is down there, so I'm going to do that. Either way will get us there, and it could be because of lights or other things, but this way, they've got these speed bumps around town, which in theory I should be able to take at the speed limit if they design them correctly and use the correct speed inhibitors. But also pretty late at night, given once again that we've got an urgent delivery. We'll see once we connect up what Sim Dashboard tells us, but my guess is we're just hauling at this point because we're not going to have enough to do a lot more. Alright, so this is where we're going to get our load. Again, it's in the freight market. There were no external contracts. So, this was another option, but not as many bonuses. So, taking this one as we had planned.
Okay, here we go.
Now we'll go find these in the yard. Yeah, I felt I was a little off there. Right, so trip meter was at 1770 from before, so cleared that up. But let's see. Alright, there it is. So we'll head on over here, get it out between the dry van and the container hauler. And then we will see what everything looks like. So yeah, but it will be another somewhat lengthy episode, but it's kind of how some of these are playing out. We may take some shorter ones once we're back in the States, but we'll see. Oops. All right. So we do have some time. Real question is, do we really have time? Because it's telling us it's about 60 hours of driving and we have 98 hours to deliver. So in theory, I've got almost 4 times I could rest, but we do have to keep in mind I have 2,200 miles to drive. So, you know, given that on a good day that's 700 to 800 miles, I don't think I can take the chance and not just go, especially not at the beginning, because if I miscalculate now, there's no recovering. I mean, I'm just automatically late. So, I mean, part of what we could get is we could gain significant amounts of time going through Mexico, but there's no assurance of that. So, well, we're going to drive, I guess is what I'm getting at. So, I was trying to maybe think of something more brilliant to say, but there just isn't anything. So, we've got 875 miles till we're empty on fuel. So I'm going to go ahead and just go instead of stopping and getting fuel here, even though I am just slightly over half a tank. So again, the benefits of just a giant fuel cell for our vehicle here is we can make those kind of choices a little bit better. I don't know why it's saying turn left, because we're just going straight on, but eventually we'll be free of the speed bumps and we'll be on our way. So let us get moving. We can go, what, 60 is what I was doing here. Alright, so it's telling me 3 hours in real time exactly. Obviously we've probably spent 10 or 15 minutes already just trying to get the load. So even if we make up a bit of time here in Mexico, we may end up really close to that in what this episode length will be. Again, this was the problem we had coming in here. Speed limits are up there, but driving loaded, it just wasn't going to work. Going to be careful with the start out here. But yeah, there's a possibility that we could drop some significant amount of real time, but I'm just not sure how that's going to happen. Or, you know, if that's going to happen, I should say. How it'll happen is just the fact that we can travel quicker than it's estimated, but once again, we do have a lot of meandering as we get north in the Baja region, as you know, before we cross the border. So the challenge is we may suddenly make up some time here, but suddenly find that we lose it all when we get up there. But my hope is in the 800 and now 50 miles that we have left until empty, that we will have left Mexico by then. I just don't recall how far down we were here, but I do have some hope that we have a possibility. Alright, it was a little brave of me, but it just felt like, yeah, I can make that. Even I didn't recall this being a tough turn. Now which way? Alright. Because obviously we've gone both ways here, but that's because we've made a few trips down this way now.
Turn left.
Alright. Just a little bit nerve-wracking, but we now are into Saturday. So we have till Monday at 2:30 in the morning, 2:30 a.m. is when our delivery window closes. Did I say Monday? Wednesday. Alright, so Ahmed's making us some money. See how everything plays out. Gotta remember we've got, what, the two extra drivers, I think. So we'll have some new folks with some short runs, I'm sure. If I recall, I think we've only had one driver in the entire time return empty. Right? So Thomas V doing his thing. But yeah, good news is we'll make a little bit of money here in Mexico. Just kind of keep watching our bank account creep up a bit. But yeah, we need about $150,000 for the truck, and then $180,000 for a garage. So, you know, we need like $330 again, because I believe we're maxed out everywhere. Ugh. It was a little tempting to try to pull into the gas station. Now that I'm stuck at the light, I'm sad I didn't. I was like, I can keep going, but I got halted anyway. So, yeah, we haven't actually, we're at just over 2,500 miles on the truck so far. So, not a huge amount. This is actually, I think, probably going to be our longest route, because we're basically almost going what we've done, and unless I'm totally not remembering things, this is my second run. Actually, I know it is, because I went from Cleveland to Tulsa, and then from Tulsa to here. So yeah, this is our third run. And so we've got basically more miles, or almost more miles, than the two combined before that. So this will be, by a long shot, our longest run. So we made it 3 loads before we started to kind of long haul again. But it's tempting and it's difficult, and when you're not in a large city where we have 30 or 40 loads to choose from that can give us some variety. The trick is, once again, it was either do this at 2,200 miles or take something else at 1,500 to get me out of Mexico. And so for the additional 700, which is really just an additional day of driving, which doesn't translate into that much more actual real time. It's a challenge not to do what we did, which is obviously why I made the choice I did. So, just a quiet night, light on traffic, always a blessing. Just lets us take advantage of the wee hours of the morning. A lot of truckers like to drive at this time because traffic tends to be lighter, because obviously just even day to day local workers and so forth, they're sleeping at 2 a.m. Although it is 2 a.m. on Saturday, so it's certainly possible you might have some folks out enjoying the start of their weekend a little bit later than they would normally do during the week, but so far so good as we cross over 100 miles into our journey already behind us. No new additional income since we got the 2 quick hits right as we started. So, do hope everybody's been enjoying themselves and having nothing serious come up. I've been a little bit under the weather between this episode and the last one when I went ahead and recorded things, so I'm still recovering a bit, so if I sound a little off or you hear things you don't normally hear, I apologize, and secondly, that's the why. But I'll do everything I can to give a good showing and make this work. So we should no, we won't. We won't discover this other piece. Can I go through here? I bet I'm going to hit some invisible wall, and I'm going to be really upset I did this, but I want that discovery. Just hoping it doesn't give me any problem. I'm not going to go quickly, because in case they did put something here, I just don't want a problem. I think we're okay. Alright. A little hesitant. Wasn't really going any slower than I would have if I went around, but we've at least got that piece discovered. So if they've designed it that way, they're just tempting me to break the rules. It's not my fault, I say. They made it too exciting. Alright. And again, bienvenidos, I don't know if that's... I think that's goodbye, not hello, but could be wrong. My Spanish is certainly rusty. I'm certain at some point I knew exactly what that meant, and now I'm wanting to say it can't be hello because I'm in Baja, but maybe it's 2 sections of Baja in them. But I could be leaving the other one and entering another. Entering another, leaving another. Obviously that is what's happening there, as I'm crossing some sort of line. But we are still in Mexico. So, and we're going to deliver at a Walmart in Louisville. So, Walmart needs some forklifts. I'm assuming they're not selling those to the customer, so maybe that Walmart is doing some work. Or maybe it's just for the store to work in the loading docks, and they've decided to purchase a couple forklifts to maybe replace ones that are wearing out. Who knows? But as a trucker, this is part of my joy of entertaining myself as I drive, is I try to speculate about exactly who and what purpose it is of what I'm hauling behind me. So it's not a strange thing to deliver to a Walmart. I've certainly had loads in American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator that were unique for where I was going and were a little bit more difficult to explain. But forklifts to a Walmart don't really cross that threshold. It's just a matter of, there's more detail than behind it. Are we replacing used ones? Is it a new Walmart? Are they the first forklifts ever being delivered to this Walmart? Not sure we're ever going to find that out. Oh boy. Alright. We are in a passing zone. I don't see anything. I'm going to cover my brake in case I do, because obviously we're not going to get into an accident. I was going to say, he's slowing down. I can't. Oh, those lights over in the water scared me. Then the red lights scared me. I don't like doing this. Can you tell? Because it is. It's 2:30 in the morning in Mexico, and nothing good is going to come out of me running into someone in the middle of the night on a 2-lane road near the ocean. So we still have just under 700 miles till empty. I think we're pretty good. I don't recall if Punta Prieta is anywhere near the border. I do not know Mexican geography and cities in any way like I do US ones, where at least I can tell you if I'm in Oklahoma, I'm not at the Mexican border. But I can't tell you if I'm in Punta Prieta, if I am. So we are certainly going slowly, but no, I think this may have been the first city after. But I'm thinking we may have been like going super slow the whole way between here and the border, from the border to here, and then I was thrilled that I could finally get moving. So it may take just as long, if that's the case, to go from here to the border. And it went from starting at Abreojos to here. So we're not quite 200 miles in, 191, according to my trip odometer. I just want to say trip planner, but that is not what we're looking at. Yeah, being able to go 19. I vaguely remember this. I don't think I was going anywhere near 19, but I certainly wasn't going like 50, but looks like that truck's speeding up there, so maybe once we... So, we'll see, because it said Buenvenidos the other way, and this is Buen Viaje, so I'm assuming Bienvenidos then is welcome. Alright, it's still 19. It looked like that truck had taken off. No, there's a speed limit sign, so... We'll see if the cars start to spread out. They are. Alright, so we are back to 60 for a bit then. All good stuff. But I think we have more cities between us and the border than just 2 or 3. But this may be the section where we're constantly slowing down. So... we'll see. Well, I guess we'll see when we get out of Mexico. I mean, we may not even get out of Mexico this day. I would hope we would. But, thing is, would we even get out before the sun rises? Oh, some tumbleweeds. Look at that. They're kind of tucked away by the time we got there. But I saw them. I'm not sure if you caught them. But very, very nice. But I kind of remember, like, I kind of went around in a really weird, almost like a 3-sided shape here right after we had crossed the border. So obviously we're going to have to reverse that here to go back across the same way and then head into the West Texas crossing that we had, if I recall, and go from there. So there you go. I think this is then when we're going to head over to the right.
Get ready to turn right.
There she tells us. Oh, that's right. This is that dirt road. I was like, oh, that's why they have the repair. So this is when we go through that crazy non-paved road. Yep, you can see the sign there. Paved to nothing. There's nothing. theory, we can go 60, but we'll see how this all moves along. Just hope that we don't do any damage to us, or, because again, we do have a fragile load. You have to keep that in mind too. So the last thing I want to see is some warnings about that. But we're going. It doesn't seem to be vibrating any more violently than it was at slow speed, so I'm going to keep doing this, and this is a lot easier to work with than with the Kenworths behind me. So I feel a lot more comfortable doing this than I did with the Kenworths behind me, but I do recall there were some pretty windy sections of this road, so I'm definitely going to have to keep my wits about me, and I swear we were traversing this in the dead of night as well, so I have not had a daytime run out of here. Alright, well, we're obviously going to get all the way up to 60 here. Is this where the river is? I think we do drop down and, like, cross some water. Yep. Alright, so I have a bit of memory. Here comes what looks like some winding road on the map there ahead of us. Pretty steep hill back out. It did not look this steep, but even our truck with the light load we're hauling is having fun. So imagine another 40,000 plus pounds of Kenworths behind us. So, but hopefully we can get through here. I am going to keep my foot over the brake in case things get a little uncomfortable, so that I can adjust, because right now we are not going 60, but that truck is moving along, so I think we're okay. That's right, this had the rocks at the edge too, which are going to be pretty unforgiving if we're definitely not able to make the turn the way we should, so we're going to slow down a bit, get through this, because it looks like once we make the next 3 or 4, there we go, we're now off the dirt. Now at least it looks a little bit more navigable at high speed. Luckily those guys didn't meet us anywhere in that little serpentine set of S-curves. I do remember the Chevron refinery here, because that was a pretty impressive setup out here. Coming up on the FedEx truck here. Got a no passing zone, so gonna have to slow down. Can't get by him here. Alright, so now we're on the other side of the peninsula, obviously, because water is on the right side of us. Alright, I assume at this point we can pass. So I'll turn on my signal. Hopefully once he's passed, we can dart around. Looks like that's just a delivery spot, not... Oh boy. Well, that's not good. I was not expecting that. Oh! Wow. The benefits of being light and having really good brakes. Yep. Wow. I don't know, maybe they won't give tickets on this, but that's close. I don't remember if this was here. It's just hard to remember any of these. It's always like, was this permanently here, or was this... You know, and was it something I should have remembered, or is this a random road event that sometimes spawns up like that? We are getting a little bit of red on our truck icon next to the money up there, so we're getting a little wear and tear. That's probably something we're going to need to take care of in a bit, because otherwise that's going to cause us some challenges in being able to move. Really, anytime we get into double digits, it's kind of dangerous, so. Yeah, it doesn't look like they've got any decreased speed limit. Wow, there's somebody working here. I guess it's almost 5:30 in the morning, so maybe they're just starting to get going. But doing pretty well on time. So I will say with certainty we have made up physical time, because we are now at exactly 2 hours until I should be done according to this. And I know for certain I have not even been playing for an hour, let alone had this load for an hour, because I just didn't start that early. So we have made up some time. The question is, are we going to keep that benefit going? Because yeah, at this point I think it's been like 25 minutes maybe, so we really made up like an hour and 25 minutes, which is not bad, and we're still in Mexico, which is even better, which might mean we can chew up more time. We might find ourselves getting this whole thing done in less than 2 hours. Wouldn't that be great? So I know how many days it takes in the game to drive, like I said, you can usually go 700-800. Oh, Jaina, I think she's one of our new ones that we hired, but she had some pretty cool credentials, so it's possible she got, I think she had some HASCOM and stuff, so it's possible she got one of those loads, and that gave her some bonus. But 2,800 for your first load, which I think is what that is for her, that is not a bad accomplishment. Alright, well, we are not getting out of Mexico before the sun rises, but that's okay. But seeing it come up over the water, just don't want to run off the road, but that's pretty nice. Alright, San Felipe. There's another port there. Alright, because again, I'm not seeing any speed limits, so I guess until now I am, and wow, that hurt. I guess if you want a speed trap, there it is, 60 to 31, and then bam, they must have a camera. $5,000 fine. That hurt.
Go straight on.
I should have known better. I knew I was coming into a town. It was just my greed of speed. I have no one to blame but me. And again, that's the benefit of being an owner-operator. I get to make my own mistakes and then be mad at myself, instead of my employer being mad at me and whatever else that turns into. So and it was just that little bit too, because now we're back up to where we can go 60. That is a quick $5,000 slap for certain. Be careful in case something changes, because he may be the one who gave me the ticket. Maybe there wasn't a camera. I just didn't realize that there was a police vehicle nearby. I don't know if this goes down to single lane. If it does, I'd like to have people behind me rather than in front of me. I'm guessing. Oh, come on. What happened? I'm not going that fast. There must have been some little trick there. It said 50 when I looked back down, so I don't understand. Alright, well now it is dropping down to a single lane, but this may be the border. Thinking it could be. 4.5 hours till I need to rest. But I think this kind of looks like where we do cross, so. Let's see, Mexicali and Sada. That's definitely, if nothing else, it's a toll booth. But we'll go through the auto pass here so that we don't have to stop. Here we go. $25. Just any kind of beeps make me nervous. It's like, am I getting in trouble? Alright. So now I guess we're not at... We may be a long way, because I somewhat remember this and think like that this was pretty well down in Mexico, but maybe not. The police car's continuing straight on like we are, so we're not going to get the benefit of having them peel off. Not that we're intending on speeding, but you know, if we get caught in little speed traps like that, it's certainly not enjoyable. All right. So I've got 4 hours and 7 minutes till I need to rest. Probably should look how close I am here. Oh, we're not even close. All right. So probably, I don't know if I can get to the border or not. I guess we'll see. So I'd rather not stop at the next one because I think that's really close. Then the one in the middle is far away from the road. Then the next one's right near the border. So I have no problem making it from a fuel standpoint. I still have almost 500 miles till we're empty. Alright, this is going to slow me down through here. I do recall this winding road. I never like these left turns because you can see we're trailing over the yellow line a bit there, so, and we didn't have much room to remedy that if we suddenly met somebody. So that's always the challenge with those, is it's hard to avoid an accident then. And I've had enough fining right now. Not that I want any, but I've definitely been contributing to the Mexican government here.
Get ready to turn right.
All right. Well, I think that's...
And then turn left.
Turn right. And turn left. That's not what it means.
Go straight on, and then turn right.
Okay, so I'm following where I've been before, which
Turn right.
would make sense. So GPS was just a little confusing. I was gonna say, I saw someone pulling up, so I don't want to swing too wide, but I do want to move over now because otherwise I'm going to clip that pole. And this is where we kind of, wiggle around a bit here, and it gets a little bit of miles attached because we're just zigzagging our way up to the border now. But there is the first rest point. We're going to have barely gone an hour, so I do want to continue on.
And then turn left.
Because as you can see, obviously we're just here at
Turn left.
this point in time. They have stop signs, I don't, so I'm going to go. Alright, no cars. I always hate that where I kind of can't see. But yeah, 3 hours and 5 minutes. So yeah, we're probably going to be under 3 hours when we pass it. But even that isn't a convenient
Turn left.
piece to go at. It looks like we'd have to
Turn
go
left.
back and kind of park right here where I'm at. Alright, I see nobody coming there. I just can't tell. Let's see. I can't see at all. It's a total blind spot. I thought I might be able to see out that window through my sleeper, but it was not to be. Whoops.
Keep right.
Mixing up my sims. I'm hitting 3, which is how you go into cruise on Farm Simulator. So I've been playing a good amount of that recently. Haven't been driving trucks for a bit, so got in the habit of the wrong thing. But hey, first mistake finally happening. 450-ish miles into the trip. Not bad. So General Mills factory there. Now, the good thing is we are able to keep going at a good clip here. So we're not really, well, it's an industrial section. Oh, this is slowing us down, however. I was going to say it's letting us move. So, yeah, let's not give away the $3,300 we just got. But hopefully that was just across the railroad tracks that were in that tight turn, but maybe not. This may be our Mexicali speed limit, although it's 37, so it did speed up a bit because it was 25, so.
Go straight on.
So this is where it helps to have a good power plant under the generator, under the hook. Oh, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh boy. Well, now we're gonna make the light, because I don't know if we can turn red. If we can turn right on red in Mexico, I don't know what that rule is. I guess the only way I'd find out is to try it.
Keep left and then exit left.
Okay, and I'm going to assume this is correct because that's where we came from, so I'm not going to look, and I'm hoping it's not going to say recalculating. It's not, so that's a good sign. Wow, this is... I guess it's not as bad. It just seems super tight, but it's actually not too bad. So, alright, so we're merged back there. Now we're up to speed. Well, we should be. It said 80, which is the 50. Well, now we're down to 31. Wow. Alright. This is how I keep getting slapped. Alright, go straight. I think this is where... Hey, hey, hey. That was not cool. Yeah, I had to totally stop or I would have run right into him. Bad AI.
Right and then turn.
Obviously, he didn't even make it, so we'd be stuck at this light anyway, so it's not like we lost any momentum, but still not good. But yeah, 2.5 hours till we have to rest, so I think we're okay. Just take a quick peek. Where are we at? Yeah, so we're right there. Yeah, we'll see. I think we can make it. But yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to push it beyond... Oh, I swear I remember this. Where they kept stopping, and it's like, why? You have a green light. And then we didn't make the turn when it happened. Another light. Wow.
Go straight on.
Well, good news is the left turn arrow's on. So it should be turning green soon. Keep moving along. Alright, so the next rest area that appears next to the road, which is still a bit away,
Take
but
left, and then continue
we should
straight
be
on.
able to make it. Wow, we are going to get hit in every light in this town.
Go straight on.
But again, the arrow's on, so hopefully won't be here very long. But yes, I do vaguely remember like these towns just being linked together and feeling like we're never going to get up to highway speeds because we did it for a few seconds and wow, another light.
Left, and then continue straight on.
It's just they're not timed in a
Go
way
straight
because
on.
yeah, obviously the turn light just changed, but we're already up here. I mean, maybe if we were pulling those Kenworths, the timing would work better, but it isn't right now. Alright. It's always part of the fun. You're like anticipating, can I go? It's like the turn signal had gone red. I'm like, by the time I get moving, I'm not going to be across the line before it turns green, right? So you hit the gas a little early. Alright. So we clearly have to go right. I don't think this is the border already. It just looks interesting.
Right, and then turn right.
But yeah, I need to be careful that I don't. Because yeah, I think this is where I turn.
Turn right.
Good news is it's just a stop sign. So, Aduana de Mexico Exportación. So, I'm assuming they're an export inspection station. And that is like the customs sign. Okay, commercial cargo trucks. That would be us, without a doubt. So, yep, we're 2 hours and 5 minutes, so should be okay. And then we've clearly got another side of that. But yeah, it's 9 miles an hour here, so I think I got flagged there for speeding at one point, so I think this is all one way, but I don't know, so I'm not like so worried that I'm making that turn and crossing a line, but I'm not sure. We'll see. I just don't know if I can get past him here, because that would be good if I could, but he is speeding up now too because he's empty, and so he can move. The question is, do we stay as 2 lanes or do we go down? I can't tell. I wonder if I could have gone. It looks like there's two choices there. What am I hitting? Clearly something. I don't understand. What did I catch on? Alright. We're clear now, whatever it was. Alright. Can't say that wasn't a challenge to get through here. Alright, so I guess we are... Oh, I guess that was it. There is no gate. I think I had the same problem going the other way. Alright. Yeah, we're an hour and 49. I think I'm gonna pull over here and rest. and fuel, either in the morning or whatever, but I think this is where I was hoping for. Yep. Yeah, because the next one's way out there, so we're not going to push our luck there. So even though we have to like go around the back and get there, but we are going to do, because that is what we need to do. Plus it gives us some discovery of segments we haven't seen. Takes us to a truck service stop so we can actually service our truck. This actually works out. So, because we just talked about how we want to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go do that at this point. And then, where is the service icon? Oh, there it is. Okay. I'm like, I should be seeing it, but I'm not. Alright, so we're going to service. Alright, so $1,400. Okay, so it's just the wheels, but still. So we basically, because of insurance, we have a $200 copay. So unless we have something significant, we're usually able to do some other things. Alright, so at this point, I think we head over and rest. Make sure nobody's crossing, because I think I'm clear, and then I find out I'm not. I'm hoping I can just pull into these spots here. Alright, cool. Alright, so we're going to park. Alright, getting some rest. Yeah, we should have a bunch of drivers who are suddenly going to have some income. So Adrian, Jana again. Jana has leveled up. That is good. One thing I am going to stop and check as I fuel is I now don't recall if I had my drivers all set to balanced, if I changed the new drivers. So I'm going to want to verify that. But in the meantime, let's get some gas. Alright, so we've got 3 drivers that have leveled up overnight, or during the day actually. So yeah, the challenge is, you know, we slept and now we're waking up at 7 p.m. So this is definitely a night haul. So let's go look at our drivers. So Vodke is adding long distance. Thomas has a couple. Alright, Adrian just added his second. Long distance, long distance. Yep, no, they're all good. So Jana's got a couple. And yeah, as I thought, plus she had fragile and hazmat, so that may have helped. And then Thomas just has the first one, so he's probably due, because he's going to be done in 9 hours. Jana's finishing in 15, 16, 17. So we've got a lot. And then obviously ourselves at 78. So basically the next day, as you'd expect, we're having a good amount of drivers that are going to be paying out, and you know, some of them may level up, some may not. Alright, so on the road again.
Turn right.
Yeah, I want to kind of keep moving, but I obviously want to be careful, because that was a pretty big swing. We've obviously got traffic coming this way, other trucks that doing the same thing we are.
Get ready to turn right.
But was this? Yeah, I guess that was the way we had come from. Just seems like the wrong way, but no, it is the right way. I don't know why, but I felt like I was... Alright, he's turning. So we should be good to start moving here. Got a green light right now, but not now. So we'll stop here. So, see the stars coming out in the sky. Pretty nice. I'm sure they're always there, although on cloudy nights, obviously they're not. When we've got clouds moving over, so it's just a clear enough night that we can see them pretty well. But yeah, our first fill up since we've started this run, so 1,431 miles is what we've got till empty. We will have to stop one more time before we make it to the end, because we've got further than that to go. Alright, so now again we're in the zone where we can go 55, so we're not able to go super fast here.
Go straight on.
But it is fast enough that we're going to have a much quicker traversal now than we were having in Mexico. So we are now down, in theory, to an hour and a half. Now that we're out of Mexico, that's probably a bit more realistic and accurate. Alright, we're going to head east. Because we know we're not going west, so just need to be careful. It looks like this sharpens up quite a bit here, but yeah, it's not too bad. So that works. Alright, and this is the regular interstate, so at this point I think we are on SCS maps again for a bit, but obviously we're going to then head right into the Midwest expansion and coast-to-coast section. The only downside with this, obviously, is this route takes us, for the most part, straight up through Tulsa and the way we had come, where if we had taken the Kenworths, we would have stayed further south and potentially unlocked some additional locations. But once again, you've always got to weigh those trade-offs, especially as an owner-operator, of what is going to help you become better and more profitable. So once again, even the addition of additional levels is going to give us bonuses, both in cash and experience for that. So it's still important, while we're not leveling up to unlock equipment options any longer, there is a benefit to leveling up other than just the understanding of how we're progressing through the skill levels of the game. Because now we're 18 wheels of mastery or something is what our skills are within now that we've hit level 30. Alright, in Arizona, and this is Yuma. All kinds of movies made about Yuma, 310 to Yuma, how to train, and they're all usually westerns and stuff like that. But while I say all kinds of movies, I guess Yuma's mentioned in a lot of movies. I don't know that I know of any other name that's coming to me. It's not of a movie about Yuma, so, but I know it's brought up in a lot of westerns and things like that. So yeah, at this point, it's just settling in for a night of driving
You know, obviously we'll get a little bit potentially into the morning. We got 13 hours, so we're talking about we can go up till 10 a.m. But it's just going to be one of those movements that we're just going to spend all our time driving in the middle of the night, and it's not going to be a daylight haul at all to get these forklifts over to Louisville. I didn't get what it said. Watch for... Oh, it probably was watch for rocks, because we're heading into this tighter curved area. I think we're going to start climbing and lose some speed, but just have to be careful here, because I know things tighten up. But yeah, this is an interesting one where the interstate like kind of crosses over itself, and you can see we're down to 35 on these turns, so definitely not what you'd expect on an interstate, but that's how they get through this section. And once again, crossing back over so that we're on the correct side of each other with the lanes of traffic. So now we've fully discovered that segment of the map. Because yeah, the one saving grace or benefit here from a progression standpoint is these are all directions we weren't going in. Oh, I can actually go faster here, so definitely going to take advantage of that, because it's a 20 mile an hour increase. That's going to change our flow substantially. But what I was saying is, yeah, we're going in a direction opposite of where we've traveled this before, so we're going to get all this new road discovery here. I'm hoping we stay quick enough that that guy does not cut in front of us, but obviously we are struggling here to catch up. There we go, finally. I was going to say it's going to be just about this time that we're going to get a way station or something where we're going to have to stop just as we're finally moving along. But hope not. Oh, Hobby Lobby truck. Always a popular thing with hobbyists, crafters, whatever you want to call yourself if you do stuff. I've certainly bought stuff there. There's always something you need to build something or create something. A fun place for sure, especially if you're just looking for something. If you've got younger kids and they like to experiment, just give you just some options to get things they can craft with and play with. Alright, that looks either like, it might have just been a rest area on the other side. I was going to say, obviously we weren't on the main route there for whatever reason, but that would be why. Oh, I was not expecting this to be a both-sided road discovery there, so we may get this whole thing lit up here. Very nice. But I saw we were over 14% on the map again, so if you recall when we, I think, did a lot of the additions several episodes ago to give ourselves more detail and options, I think we dropped from like 12% down to the 11s or 10% discovered in the road network, and so now we've definitely clearly broke through that and are making some significant headway into deeper discovery of the roads. But what I'm going to certainly do next time is I'm going to look for something a little bit shorter, because because once again, we're now going to be kind of in the heartland. We're a little bit too far east, so it's like we just can't quite get the stuff that we want, but in any event, it'll all work out, and we might start to progress at just a little bit of a slower clip so that we can once again not have hours-long episodes and get things down to the manageable level I talked about, which we did for, one episode, I think. And then suddenly we were back into some longer hauls into the thousands of miles again. All right, coming up on Phoenix.
Keep right and then exit right.
All right, just making sure that's accurate. It is. All right. So, because obviously Route 8 is very south of in the U.S., but there's no reason to doubt directions on the SCS map, but again, it's still always a good thing to just be certain right now, although this isn't one that's a huge burden to change. Please don't come up on me that quick, because I need to clear my trailer before I run into you. Alright, and yeah, there's the Cascadian Farms out here, down that road. But no lack of places to work for in the great US of A. It's not really that slow here, but this truck is not our truck. I'm actually it's getting off the gas periodically because the truck in front of us is clearly having some difficulty getting themselves through this space and moving along. And the turns were slowed down to 35. I do get that. So clearly the AI is aware of the signs, at least in that area, which would make sense that they would adjust that accordingly. Because if you have AI trucks flying through and maybe not having an issue, I didn't realize what was happening there. I'm like slowing down. If I had actually kept my momentum up, I could have easily gotten by him here. Because of course now they're taking off, but we'll see. It's a barn. I wasn't sure. I saw lights. I'm like, gas station, but there was nothing on the map, so that was kind of what was keeping me a little speechless, because I just didn't know what to say and hadn't put together in my head, what are those lights? Which could have been something to say at that point. Alright, so we have to go almost up to that speed. That's right, we didn't discover Phoenix before. Probably not going to discover it going this way, but sometimes
Go straight on.
just shifting to the opposite side of the roadway sometimes is enough that you touch whatever trigger point they've put in for discovery. But there you go, we'll get some interchange lane discovery for sure. And it's just a question of how far north we're going to go before we start heading over. But at this point, again, we can kind of assume that on our mini-map, we're just going to kind of follow the route, the yellow route we had, because that's, for the most part, what I was seeing when I was looking at the map, selecting the route to get going along here. But yeah, it's going to take, I mean, this job pays again $173,000, so it's going to give us an amount that gets us at least to the point we can potentially do something. I suppose we could buy a garage now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know that there's any detriment, because I don't recall any kind of fee that you pay, like I say, on a daily basis because of garage ownership, so that if we owned a garage with nobody working out of it, I don't know that in game there's any penalty for that, and it would just give us the opportunity to kind of keep our money working, even though obviously at that point it's really just kind of pre-staging for growth. But it at least gives us, that feeling now where we're still a little bit slower on things of some progress. Because obviously, we would expect when we're sleeping and we've got 10 hours going by that we get some sort of income coming in during that time with the driver base we have. But really, until we get around 100 drivers, which is obviously going to take a long, long time, you're not constantly having money flowing in like you would like, and makes it easier to feel like, all right, I'm always going to have the ability to expand. I mean, I think there is a little bit of a tipping point, like once we get to 30 or 40 in that range, because in a lot of cases you're still going to have drivers taking jobs that they can get done in a day, because once again, we haven't hit that yet, so you haven't seen it, but what I tend to do is on the distance I cap it to 4 skill points, and then I basically change it to balanced, because then I want the drivers starting to get a lot of variety so that they have less and less chance of coming back empty. And what I think I'm certainly seeing, and I've only got one other opportunity to look at this, because I've really only got one other profile where I have a workforce of any substance and size. But it used to be very common every time you added a new driver that it was, here's their income, and the next one could not find a load, came back empty, and then you're paying maintenance and fuel, and you would do that until they got a couple skill points. But we've only literally had one driver that I see that has found no job, and I think some of that just has to do with the map expansions and the fact that they're able to find things a lot closer and than they were able to on some of the SCS maps, because some of the reality was, where they were in the garage. Alright, we're going to slow down here because we're just asking for trouble. We're next to another truck, we're next to guardrails. The little bit we're going to save getting through here a little faster is going to just negate any positives we've had, because keep in mind, like, we were at 80,000, and then I got all those speeding fines, and even with everything and every driver for the most part turning in a load, we're just finally at 87,000. But yeah, what ends up starting to happen is once we cap those drivers at the 4 skill points, I believe that kind of gets them just to 1,000 or 1,500, maybe it's 1,600 miles as the long jobs they can take. So those could be a couple days, but typically they're gonna get there in no more than 2 days. And so if you kind of start to think about it, if you just have double the number of hours drivers, meaning 48, so basically when we get to 50, that should kind of be the point where almost every hour, every 2 hours, you start seeing a driver delivering and, and the income going up. But it just depends, because sometimes you see like what we see now, where as we went through that driver list, a lot of drivers were clustered around between 16 and 18 hours. And then we were going to get paid out. So we're going to see, 3, 4, 5 drivers suddenly pay us all at once. Alright, so we're going in the direction or near the Grand Canyon here. I think this is our final turn. Just don't want to get, again, too close to him.
Keep right, and then exit right.
Oh, really? Huh. Yeah, I guess so. Alright. So, toward Albuquerque, New Mexico, so guess we're done with north-south travel, which I assume is kind of now going to be where we're headed. Alright, so this is where we kind of go around Flagstaff, which, as I think I saw there, we had not discovered. Yep, so that will stay out of our reach. But yeah, we're getting to the point.
Go straight on.
Now we still, if I look at things, unless really the drive time is of almost 24 hours is not accurate, we're looking at a couple rest periods still before we arrive. And obviously the Wednesday flip is just into the AM hours if we are really pushing the envelope there. Back up to 75. I missed that again. But yeah, I don't recall when we transition out. I'm assuming New Mexico. I don't know that we're going to go up anywhere into like Colorado or anything here. Although we may have like come past Denver, and I don't know. I guess we'll see. All we do is follow the directions of our navigational tools and get where we need to get. So is this our... Oh, this is just a party something. I want to say it's a Party Florida, but it just seems a strange billboard, but who knows. So obviously we're nowhere near that side of the country, nor do I think I've ever seen Florida billboards in the game, even when we were in Florida. But maybe there were some, and they're just getting randomly popped out here in Arizona, New Mexico. Yeah, it's nice that it's staying clear as far as the sky. I wanted to be clear on that, because no, I'm not talking about traffic, because obviously we've got a good amount of traffic here. Says as I suddenly have to slow substantially down because this guy decided he was going to pass someone that then he clearly couldn't pass. But always fun stuff when that happens. But again, it's a little more forgiving with what we've got, because with a good motor and enough power, we can accelerate relatively reasonably quickly. And we're going to be another 5 miles an hour. We'll be at our maximum. So, Show Low is, I do know that was somewhere where I used to get off the interstate all the time. I don't remember why. Probably because there's several towns down there that just made sense to go to. Happy holidays times 20, alright. So, maybe it's holiday time here in American Truck Simulator. I don't know. But since time is kind of, other than time of day and day of week, is kind of not important or not really shown here, who knows? But that clearly said Happy Holidays on that McDonald's billboard. So whoever made those mods felt that was a billboard worth having. Ah, yes, the petrified forest. I've been through this area. I've gone through like the Grand Canyon. I don't remember, but I was a young kid. I want to say we did stop here at the petrified forest, but I may have just seen pictures of it at some point and somehow grafted into my head that I was physically there, but I don't know. So I don't know what the reality is. I don't have any photos to show I was there. I know we've got photos of the Grand Canyon, but once again, it's like trees that have been turned into rocks. I'm not quite sure if we had any photos in our family, if there would have been more than like one or two, because how many of those could you take? It's not like there's so much variety and excitement to explore.
Go straight on.
While I love, hiking and being out in the woods and so forth, rock woods, not quite as interesting. I'm not, a rock garden fan or any of those. Although I must say, I'm not a huge fan of mowing the lawn either, so the whole turn my yard into a rock garden sometimes grows on me, especially after a long summer of really fast growing grass and 90-degree days where I'm just ready to never mow another blade of grass again. Might be time to stop and weigh this truck, because it's been a long time, but this is frankly the first weigh station I think we've seen, so. But I'll stay in this lane because you know what'll happen. We'll start to pass, and of course you know what will happen. We're slowing down, and now we're going to get a pass through and not have to stop. But alright, so it's just the New Mexico like port of entry. There you go, see? We can bypass, but they are slowing down. Hopefully all of them stay in line. Alright, 2425 from Thomas K. Leveled up, so, and I think Thomas was the one at the bottom that just had the one distance skill point, so that would give them 2. So now all our drivers have 2, which if I recall, I think the first one gets us to 350, and the second one gets us to either 500 or 650, something like that. So, but, there should be longer drives now. And I'm assuming like the other ones all had 17, 18 hours to be done, so I'm imagining, they were already at 2, so those would be kind of the 2 drives, so we're at the point. Because what starts to happen now, too, is, you're going to have drivers taking those longer ones that are going to take 2 days. And so, obviously, we're going to easily be able to go a day without suddenly having a driver, any income from any driver, because they're going to start taking 24, 30 hours to finish their trips, where they're going to be, 2 to 3 days to get there. But, I probably could, I'm wondering if I may change my plan here. I may cap them at 3, because again, with where I'm placing these garages and with the fact that they have a lot of choices, I want to get them into the different load types as fast as I can. So I think I'm going to cap them at 3. We'll take a look when we stop, because I don't think anybody's going to be in danger of suddenly leveling up twice before I finish this run. Yes, we've got 3 days, but I think even if someone finishes a couple runs, they're not going to get enough experience now to level up that quickly. But rather than go to 4, because the reason I was going to 4 before, as I said, was always so they didn't come back empty. But now that they've got many more delivery cities and smaller distances, there's not a reason to send them as far. And then what that would do is it would start, I'm almost half tempted to say cap them at 2. So I think I've got to stop in 4 hours and 33 minutes. So before we sleep, I'm going to go take a look, because I'm just not recalling with 2 how far they're going. Because I'm not even sure I need to get them to 1,000 miles. 2 might be enough. And that would, again, kind of provide a little bit of a different experience. But then what we might have is just a lot more kind of local. They're not really local runs, because local runs truly are, when a trucker's running a local gig, they're basically home every night. And obviously, if you've got a run that's taking 18 hours, you're kind of already exceeding that. But it's more of a regional trucker at that point instead of a long haul, because I think once you start pulling past 1,000 miles, it's kind of hard to say that you're regional anymore. So I think I'm going to keep them below that cap. Alright, 4 hours, even if we're hitting coast to coast, which we may be at this point. I think we're still okay to continue on, so I'm going to go ahead and skip this. Although there's a little bit of temptation, because stopping now would get me, I'd be starting at like 4:30 in the afternoon at least, but so I'd get a little bit of daylight, but then I'd also, either way, we'll do the next stop, because like I said, I'm sure, gotta slow down a bit. We've got to be in coast to coast right now, although I don't know, there's a lot of houses, trees, rocks, there's just a lot of stuff around, so maybe we're still on the real maps. I'm not seeing any of the large cities, so that's where I'm having some challenge of what we've really got. Tommy Hilfiger, huh? Sun coming up, and we're gonna have to turn in. It's got to be tough. I don't know that I would say I tried that. I never officially worked a night shift type of schedule for any length of time, like where I say beyond a week. There were projects I was on where we basically had to do most of the work when people were gone, so I had to shift my schedule for like a week. And I do know for that. Okay, this is Albuquerque, so we're still on the regular SCS map, so definitely 4 hours then is not a problem for continuing. We probably can get down to 2.5 and keep going if that's the next time we see one. But yeah, especially like something like this, and I get, they've got little curtains. I'm sure you can do stuff to darken your cab in your sleeper. But just, it's got to be tough to sleep during the day when you're obviously not used to that. And, it's certainly, I know, not a fun thing, because, like, when you're ready to, when you're awake overnight, it's like nothing's open. And, So it's like if that's truly how you've got yourself set, because it's just always what you drives. So, you know, again, if I'm a trucker and I have that schedule and I'm always doing overnight runs, and let's say, you know, I even have a weekend, a clearer weekend type thing, you know, it's not really helpful to be awake at 3 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday night. Because, hey, I want to go see a movie. You can't. But it just really messes with you. I mean, I definitely have known a lot of people who work third shift, and it takes a toll on just your life, your relationships, whatever. I mean, even folks that were married, it's like, you know, their spouse works during the day, they work at night, they literally like just see each other, like they're coming home getting ready to go to sleep, their spouse is leaving the house getting ready to go to work. Yeah, they're basically kissing in the hallway, you know, the proverbial two ships passing in the night thing, and that's like the only time they see each other. And obviously if you're not really having any other time, it's hard on relationships, because, you know, you're each talking to just other people, because that's who you're around when you're awake, because it's when you're working, and it can create a lot of problems. So you gotta find a way to deal with it, or, you know, can just have a really sad life, I guess. I don't know I'm trying to put a positive spin on it, but it's difficult, because sometimes people don't have choices but to take those jobs. It's the only jobs they can get. Nobody else wants them, so they're available. You know, and certainly, like any job, you know, there's people who will do it who are like, well, I'm just doing it until I find something else. But sometimes you don't find something else, and you're suddenly looking back 20 years and realizing, wow, this is what I've been doing for 20 years, and this is what it's done to me. So anyway, enough of that. It's getting very, very dark, very down. Alright, so Tucumcari, 119 miles away. Could be close, could be about where we rest, because now we are down to 2 hours, 21 minutes. So now even on the SCS maps, we're at the point, like, yeah, we find anything, we want to take advantage of it. Alright, a little bit of a hill here. Aha, rest area, a mile. Lots of traffic. That's never helpful. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and pull over here. Come on, see my lights, see my lights. Thank you. Because usually the AI is good, where if it sees I have a turn signal on, it's going to back off and let me in. If we had been on the other side, we could have taken advantage of the viewpoint, but we're not. Staples. Alright, Staples. It's like blinking their stoplights, like stopping, stopping. I get they want to make sure nothing's coming, but... Alright. This is kind of a sloppy mess of a rest area. Not really another way to put it. Alright, I guess we go over there. Yep, we are yawning. It is that time. Alright. Well, we're going to actually put ourselves in a space and hope the trigger's still, or at least try to. Obviously, I did a terrible job. Alright, I'm going to shut my engine off, but again, I don't want to lose that opportunity, so I'm going to go look at my drivers real quick here. Actually, the first thing I need to do... Yeah, see, because rank 3 already puts me up to 1,000. I think capping them at rank 2 is good enough for what we've got. Alright, so we are now going to change everybody to balanced, is what's going to happen. Oh, Brandon's already up to 3. So Brandon's a little high, so he'll be my long haul guy right now. And I think Brandon turned out to be that. I just want to make sure everybody's balanced. They are. Alright. Alright, so I'm just going to keep moving along while I talk. I don't want to waste video time here to be chatting when I could be rolling down the road while I'm chatting. Alright, well Brandon, as we said, was the long distance. He did 13,000 and he just leveled up again. So he would have been adding a 4th skill point to distance. So, good timing there. But, yeah. Because at this point, if they're making 9,000 or something, I mean, that's a good income, between 5 and 10,000 a load. But if I can do that more frequently, yeah, literally everybody's leveling up. So, I'm glad I did what I did when I did. Because otherwise we would have had things we would have preferred not to. So yeah, driver 1172. And you know what may start happening is like someone like that. I mean, I'm assuming she only got 1100 because she took a very short job. And so what it may turn into for her, and what we may start to see is now if she starts coming back empty every other load, it's like, all right, clearly wherever she's based out of, and we also have to keep in mind there's going to be 2 other drivers based out of there too, so they should be having similar experiences if it's really I can't find a job type of thing. But yeah, 650 miles as a cap. I am surprised that those are taking them 18 hours, but don't know. Obviously they are. But right now we are at, according to this, 50 minutes in real time till we're done. And here we are at Tucumcari. So we know we're at the eastern edge of New Mexico. And then we will be going back into, I think it's definitely Midwest expansion down here, but don't recall offhand if it really is or if it's just more straight coast to coast as far south as we are here.
Keep left.
Alright, this is just getting, again, I do remember this area. The map was always a bit of a challenge. I think this is still part of SCS, but this is where I think I've gotten myself into trouble before, trying to stay at speed through some of the turns and then hitting things, whether they be other people or roadside things. No, I guess we're not at Tucumcari yet, 44 miles, so that must have been some sort of a sign that tricked me, obviously. So no, we're not as far as I thought. We are less than 1,000 miles till we are complete at this point. So yeah, here was another rest area, but now we're about an hour later than we were. We could have made it, but it all works out. So either way, no matter when I stopped, I was going to be just short by a few hours, and that's exactly where we're at. We have about 13 hours to rest, about 16 hours till we get there, so the good thing is the way it's working, we get a little bit of daylight when we are waking up. It's basically early evening, so if that continues to play out, you know, we might deliver in the twilight. I don't know. We're still probably going to be around this time, like it or not. So keep hoping there's going to be some nice daylight for you to view something, but does not appear to be working out that way. That's the other thing. If I can, take something that's less urgent,
Keep left.
I'll be able to then take advantage of trying to keep it in the daytime for our driving.
Keep left.
Yep, and here we go to Amarillo. But yes, now we are at Tucumcari because we were at like exit 273 when that was happening before, and that was 335, so definitely gone our 42 miles or whatever it is, which was about the distance it was telling us. And now, yes, we are looking like we're more into blandness. There's always a little bit of that trepidation for me here when we cross from official to mod maps of, am I going to hit some trigger point again that suddenly dumps me to the desktop? So, hoping not, because obviously it doesn't always happen immediately. Sometimes it's 4 or 5 miles down the road, so we get a minute or two of thinking we're good, and then suddenly, bam, we're not. I could see that the road was divided up there on the mini-map. I was expecting this side to not be discovered, but maybe on this area we have gone through multiple directions. So there you go, we're now entering the central time zone, and you can see the time change from 8:43 to 9:44 p.m. So I do normally play with the time zones enabled in the interface, so that when we cross them, the clock in game changes and we see that. Wow, this is a bit of a climb. I know there's some West Texas hills, but not expecting quite this much, but it's creating a bit of a traffic bottleneck. Gonna get people leaving off Adrian to, nope, none of those. Truck behind is peeling off. Looks like maybe just the one, which makes sense. I'm sure it's a tiny little West Texas town. How many people want to really go there, and therefore how many people are gonna, whoa. Oh, gotta love that. Wonderful. Oh, come on. Wonderful ATS entrance ramp fun. So if you've never experienced that, what tends to happen is they either get in an accident with traffic that's coming and traffic that's merging, or they're not in an accident, but they basically have both come to a dead stop, and then obviously that seals up the left lane, which then creates the situation we saw that trickles over to the left lane, and I think I said left lane both times, but bottles up the right lane and then trickles over to the left lane is what I meant to say, if that's not what I said the first time. But yeah, you can see even behind us just a sea of headlights, so definitely a problem. And now we're into the coast-to-coast interchange humps where we slow down and then speed up a bit and gain a couple extra miles on the other side, so it takes a little while to get up to speed. And of course, in the meantime, we've got people passing, we've got trucks that are camping out in the left lane. Yeah, this is going to turn into another bottleneck, I think. It's possible he'll fall back here because of the hill, but we'll see. Oh boy. Not when that happens, he won't. I need to get out of all this traffic. There's just too many cars. It's just incredibly inefficient right now. Alright. Oh my god, he just flew up there. Like he was way back, and then suddenly I was getting ready to change lanes, like, ooh, I got room, I can move over, and suddenly he's flying. Alright, so here we've got Amarillo. And yeah, because we were relatively clear in front of us, and then suddenly we had that fun. Alright, and I do have to remember, I do need gas at one point. I still have 450 miles, so I'm not in any dire need, but it's going to be before we rest again. Because I've got over 11 hours to go, and unless we get on really slow roads, 450 miles is going to happen well before 11 hours, so. But we'll go for a bit. I guess, well, I mean, I suppose it's a bit of a trade-off, because I could, obviously get out of traffic if I finally go ahead and let myself exit, and then maybe I could be clear of everything, but there's no guarantee that would happen. And once again, we're finally getting going fast enough. And I think we're going to end up going like through Dallas and Fort Worth. So there should certainly be plenty of fuel there. I definitely want to see when I see something kind of close to the road, if I can. This actually might work, because yeah, I have 700 some miles, and if I fuel up here, and then I'm just focusing on rest stops, and I'm not trying to play that dance, so let me just do that. What, really? I've got one spot to go, and the car goes there. I don't think I've ever had that happen. Wow. Well, hopefully he's got some sort of magic fill gauge like I do, because I don't get out of the car to fill up my truck either, so. But I'm like, they haven't even gotten out of the car yet. But there they go. So, not great, but it's only 30 seconds. Getting the hiccups now. Wonderful. But yeah, what I was saying was we had 777 miles to the end, and we know we're gonna get 1400. So like, it wasn't like I was at a point of, hey, if I fuel now, I'm not good. So certainly something like this that's just an easy off, easy on, hard to beat. So he's gonna be alright. Like, he's gonna be a jerk, and he's just gonna plow along, and I'm gonna have to hit at my brakes, but I didn't. Alright, so we're done with fuel on this run. And again, one more rest that could happen pretty much any time. See, now I do have like plenty of room. In theory, I still have 52 hours to deliver, so I suppose I honestly could have stopped there, but, well, but the challenge is I still have 13 hours. If I had done that, yeah, now I need to go a little bit longer. Just trying to figure out if I could get myself where I'm delivering in the morning. Or, during the day. Because right now, you stop your 9 a.m. But yeah, I probably need to go at least 2 or 3 more hours. And then I'm still going to be pushing it, because that would get me 10, 11 hours. So, and then we're suddenly at like 11 a.m. and it's going to be 7, 8 o'clock at night. So I don't know that I can win either way, so. maybe just going and instead of trying to play games and then just being disappointed that it didn't work anyway. The only other benefit is at least I'd have one day, whoops, looking at my sim dashboard as I drift off. But we'd have one day where we at least had some daylight. My problem is I'm just below 13 hours, so it's like, if I rest, I have any kind of a challenge or difficulty, I'm going to, we're going to have a weigh station here, right? Ooh, lets us by. We're going to have a whole trip where we won't have to weigh? That would be impressive, because yeah, I was going to say, I knew this was the one that I had gotten pulled into before that is like you got to pull off at the exit, go there. I mean, the only difference is this way we're going in the right direction where we could pull out of there and, go down these entrance ramps here that get me on to the interstate appropriately. But in any event, yeah, it was just close. I mean, I think at this point we are moving into that safe zone where if I do stop, I'm going to have a couple hour cushion between my delivery window and so forth. But it just, how that goes. You get into town, you get stopped at the street lights, minutes and minutes are ticking by, and you're suddenly in danger of being late. But yeah, at this point I'm kind of trying to drive myself through to just get done in this physical session. And, reminding myself that I've promised both me and you that I'm going to stop doing these 2,000 plus mile runs that take hours and hours to do. So I need to stick with that. But something dragged me to Mexico, and now I had to drag myself out. But now we're going to be back up in the Midwest where we're based. And so we can say, we gave our company a good kickoff. We made a couple six-figure runs to give ourselves the ability to do some pretty nice things. Speaking of pretty nice things, what happened? We're up to $123,000 suddenly. Wow. Obviously, we had a bunch of drivers do some pretty impressive things. So, yeah, I'm starting to like the fact that I capped them at 2. Because, yeah, the amount we're going to get just from our delivery is going to be about enough to buy a garage. If I can get another 30,000-40,000 from my drivers, we might be able to buy a garage and get a truck and driver going out of there. That would be pretty nice. That would make this worth it for certain. Because, again, having another producer, hard to say that's a bad thing. Alright, so yeah, I was just focused on the traffic and everything and was moving along with that and, getting distracted, and suddenly I look up and I've gone from, last time we talked was 87,000 to almost 40,000 more dollars. So obviously I'm thinking every single one of my drivers must have finished a load, or someone had something crazy good in bonus pay or something. You're not helping me. There's nobody in front of you. People are passing you on the right. You know what that means. You're in the wrong lane. They're speeding up, but as soon as we hit a hill, you know what's going to happen. Alright. Thank goodness. But yeah, I was gonna say we're suddenly hitting more traffic. And that's what I was thinking, like we're gonna hit this and then they're suddenly gonna slow way down and the cars next to them are not, and I'll be stuck behind them in the left lane. But so it looks like maybe just a couple trucks, maybe there's 3, or maybe there's a car. I don't know, it looks like something's in front of that second truck, but maybe it's just an optical illusion. Little Caesars. Pizza, pizza. Sorry. If you know Little Caesars, you know why I did that. If not, just enjoy the entertainment. And look up a Little Caesars ad, I guess. But, El Reno. Alright. I am gonna El Stopo, because now we're down to less than 11 hours. So I think that makes sense, and this is a nice, convenient pull-off. And then we'll get us... Ooh, this is one of those that are modeled in a really fun way. I'm just gonna top my tank off. I don't know why, just because. Now I've stopped. It'd be foolish not to do it. But so my reason will be that diesel's only 202 here, so I want cheap gas in my tank rather than something crazy. Oh, that's the oh boy, I guess the other side is gonna be a little easy. Oh, alright, even better. Then I don't have to park. Alright, 6,800. Anybody else? Anybody else? It's a slow scroll, so I'm thinking that's it. That is it. But still. Always helpful. Sorry. Slept. Now I'm clearing my throat. I almost was like driving on the shoulder there, but I'm not sure there's really road there. I could see like we would fall off the map there. That would be bad. Is that like a black hole? God, that would suck if that was like that one episode we had that we fell off the edge of the map. If you just were a little too far to the left there and that happened, that would be crazy. I'm not going to try. But, in any event, I'm distracted by the potential danger of the black hole.
Get ready.
So,
Exit right.
yeah, everything seems to still... Okay, I'm assuming that's a wrong direction. It is. We're not exiting right for quite a bit. On the other side of town there.
Exit right.
And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm distracted by the black hole. Oh, what I was going to say is the real time has stayed kind of exactly where it should be. It actually slowed down about a minute now, but that's probably because we're accelerating and weren't moving along because we went from a dead stop. So we probably lost a bit of time there, but it's playing out to have stayed consistent once we got stateside here. Oh, he's exiting. That's fine. I just saw he was slowing down. I was worried he was going to merge. Tropical shipping. Guess we are in the south. Could be tropical. But yeah, we're going to loop around over here to the right and then exit.
Keep right, and then continue straight on.
But yeah, St. Louis, Indianapolis. No, we're not going straight on. You're a terrible driver. Or navigator. I'm the driver. Again, we're in that slap-happy time of long runs. Not something I was expecting to be doing again, but here we are. Alright, but yeah, we've got like a 5-hour cushion between our rest break requirement and our delivery, and we will be there in Louisville before we know it. But we got to go through Oklahoma, Missouri, and then Illinois, Indiana. Might not go through Indiana, although I think we will, to get to Louisville the way this is going to take us, but we'll do what it says. But yeah, I'm trying to remember if this is like the little wiggle through Dallas-Fort Worth. The difference will obviously be we're not going to spend time on the roads there like we did before, which probably added 15 minutes to anything we were doing. We're just going to blow through on the interstate, so it will not be bad. Alright, we seem to have reined our minute back in, maybe. I don't know if that's going to hold or if it's just the trick of, you know, how it is. It gives me a time on the clock, and then, you know, you're at the right half of the 30 seconds of the half minute that it works, but we'll see how that all comes together. And then obviously how challenging. I can't imagine at a Walmart we're going to have anything too difficult. The most they could offer is obviously wedges between two trailers to make it a difficult parking job, but we'll see how that all plays out. Yeah, I'm drifting more than I should. Well, we're heading east according to this, so maybe whatever I was thinking, maybe that Dallas-Fort Worth thing is a totally different route. Because, yeah, now we're turning northeast. We'll see. Obviously here we're...
Keep right, and then
Alright.
exit
Yep,
right.
St. Louis, Indianapolis. That makes sense.
Exit right.
Again, I want to be careful that I don't want to slough off too much speed if I don't need to, but I then don't want to run off and have myself an accident, because I certainly don't need that either.
Keep left.
Alright. Whoa. That turned sharper than I thought. It got me a little confused. So I'm not quite sure. That was interesting. So it must have just taken us through Tulsa a different way, or maybe we stopped and rested. I don't remember exactly what happened. Actually,
Go straight on.
we probably were going to our garage. Silly me. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever tried to fuel at my own garage. I mean, I assume we still have to pay for fuel. I don't think we get free fuel there. But, don't know. The same thing, I don't know if we get free repairs. I have to try some of that. But yeah, now we're in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a bit wide, so, you know, maybe a little bit of time here. But then Missouri and the others are thinner. So yeah, you know, we're getting down to 400 miles, and if I've got everything figured out, not counting Oklahoma, we're going to go through 4 states, so we may have about 100 miles per state, which doesn't quite seem right, but maybe we're going to go through less states than I think. Because what we may do is do Missouri, like the southern part of
Go straight on.
Illinois, and then kind of skip it. I don't know that you can skip Indiana to get to Kentucky. I don't have that mental map in my mind like that clear with exactly what borders where and what touches where. But yeah, this is telling me it's taken me to Springfield, which I think is too far north because I think Louisville is. So it's like, I'm thinking we're going to turn off somewhere here and then go a different way. But that will all become clear shortly. And right now, we've actually gained a minute over what we were running before, if this really holds on. 22 real minutes is what it's telling me. So we are less than a sitcom away from delivering. Yes, the strange analogies are emerging. Alright, 304. Yep, Miami, Oklahoma. This was, I think, if I recall, close to the border. Because, yes, Joplin is in Missouri, and it's 22 miles away. So, getting ready to cross the state line here, under 400 miles. Looking for the sign on the horizon to tell us that we've made it. Not seeing it, but I'm sure it's there somewhere. And, you know, it could be, I see something blue beyond that tree. That might be it. Yep. So I was going to say, we might just get there just before Joplin, and that's pretty much what we got. Alright, so we got to slow down 5 miles an hour. Boo. But that's alright. People can set their own speed limits in their own state. Alright, so yep, looks like we keep going straight. We do keep heading toward Springfield. That's interesting, as I said, but
Keep left.
alright, let me just make sure. Alright. Springfield, Missouri. Not Springfield, Illinois. That's what was confusing me. Again, being from Illinois, when I hear Springfield, and there's a Springfield, Ohio, too, now that I think about it, that I go through all the time, getting down one of our kids to college, and there's Springfields everywhere, obviously, but in my mind, when I hear Springfield, I immediately think about Illinois. Partially that's because, you know, that's the capital of Illinois, so it sticks in your head. You learn your state capital, especially where that's the state you went to school as a kid, and obviously they drill that in more than anything else, even though when I went to school we had to memorize all 50 state capitals, and I think, I don't know, usually I recall most of them, but definitely slipping away from me in later years, as frankly there's less and less need for them to take up space there because I don't do anything with them. It's kind of like why I don't remember how many Kelvin 0 degrees or 212 Fahrenheit is. So, because Celsius is a little more useful, but unless you're doing science stuff, you don't really need Kelvin. It's a bad name. It's a bad measure. I don't know. It's probably not a bad measure. It's great for science. It's just not a measure I need in my day-to-day life. I promise we're getting closer. I know you want this to be over as much as me, because I'm just babbling about things that aren't very helpful. Look like a nice BMW there. I don't know why I'm staying all the way in the left lane, because I'm worried as soon as I start to move over, someone's going to dive over and cut me off, just like that guy. Nobody's in front of him, but let's get in the middle lane. Why not? Because we want to make the traffic appear more interesting. So there's Springfield. Ah, okay. Well, that's why he moved to the center lane, because otherwise it was an exit lane, but I didn't see that yet. Biogen. Yeah, so we recently, speaking of biotech companies, we recently watched a thing on Hulu, The Dropout, which is about the real-life story of Theranos and the mess that was. So I kind of was aware of it in real life, real time as it was happening, but kind of once the company fell apart and things were shown to be a sham, I lost interest, because it's like, well, if they get criminally prosecuted and something happens, it affects their life more than it affects mine. And just always a sad thing where you have these hopes, because certainly all of us like to be healthy, and any kind of hope that we can have a better quality of life in any area. And Theranos was providing hope by the boatful of what frankly turned out to be nothing more than snake oil for the most part. They did a lot of crazy things, so I won't ruin it for you if you don't know. You can go watch the show and at least see it in an entertaining way, or I'm sure you can find a bunch of news clips and see it in a less entertaining way if you want to learn about how it all went. Alright, now I know there's a Lebanon, Kentucky. I can't imagine we're in Kentucky already, but... because, yeah, 274 miles, that's too far. Exit 888. I think that sign is wrong. So, once again, some of the fun of maps that don't have the funding to be professionally checked. You get stuff like that. I'm sure that, whoever placed it, their intention was sound, but just didn't work out the way they intended. Well, maybe it did. Maybe it was like, I want to leave it that way. I want people to have something to talk about or think about when they drive by. I don't know. Just making excuses for an error, so I'll stop. So we're getting close to a milestone. You probably know what it is. It's the edge of my sanity. No. But when we get there, we'll let you know, in case but you've got a minute or two to guess. Get yourself a guess. Drop it in the comments. Let me know if you were right. But, yep, Stevens Transport, they are definitely around all over. See their trucks all the time when I'm driving on the highway. Alright. But yeah, we've got a little under 250 miles till final. Okay, Rolla, I think, was in Missouri, so Lebanon must have still been in Missouri. Jefferson City which is where we're at here. I am going to go straight on. I will follow your directions, because you are accurate this time. So, still about the same in real time, so our target hasn't moved, which is good, because it lets me get done when I had planned to get done, which works out well with my other plans. Old boxy minivan. Always nice. Old Mini Winnie, although not really. It's a Winnebago. It's a good size one. There were so many of those on the road when I was a kid, but now they're so rare. I don't even know that they're a functional RV company anymore. They probably are, but... Alright, so we passed 2,000 miles in our trip. So that was the milestone that we were creeping up on for a bit. We're actually a little ways past it. I was focusing on the traffic, and it missed it by a few miles, but you get the idea. All right, another $3,000 in the coffers. Slow crawl, so once again, probably that's it. So sadly, we might not have enough to get ourselves a truck. Just still be able to get a garage. But there was hope. There was so much hope. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll hold off and do it next time. This has been a long enough episode rather than expanding the business in this as well. Because if I can have a decent run that requires me to rest, I think, with a 10-hour sleep, we'll definitely have enough income coming in to get us over that hump, because we really need like 160,000 to kind of be comfy. Actually more than that, because I'm still like 7,000 short of buying the garage with what I'm going to make off this job, so.
Go straight on.
Oh, I hope that's accurate. It is, thank God. Alright. Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was just the way we came. I'm like, why did we go through St. Louis the other way? But yeah, so now we're breaking off a bit in direction. So.
Keep right, and then continue straight on.
Alright, so hold on. No, I'm actually going right. Liar. I mean, I am keeping right and continuing straight on, I suppose, but... So yeah, Mount Vernon, I believe, is Illinois, and that, I think, is the southern tip. Very close to it, so we may be doing what I said, where we're going to skirt through Illinois, but then skip Indiana and actually dive into Kentucky right away, and then just head up through Kentucky. But we're under 200 miles now. Almost under 175, so...
And then continue straight on.
Because yeah, at this point, yes, we stay on 64. So just follow those signs.
Go straight on.
And yes, if I keep stopping and looking at the map, I'm going to mess up the real time. So I need to just go. But at this point, I should be able to just look for signs for Louisville and stuff like that, but we'll see. But obviously we're on the eastern side of Missouri. St. Louis is on the river, which is on the border between Illinois and Missouri. And if I recall, it's the Mississippi River, so we know that one place we crossed it, it was like, ooh, we could really see it. We'll see if it's modeled that way here. Doesn't look like it, although maybe we've got to get through the other side or some other area of St. Louis. Because it was like it had a 1 mile mark, but maybe we're in that mileage limbo here where we're driving, but we're not moving, if you know what I mean. So, because yeah, we're at 173 miles. And now we just switched to 172, so I think we're within the environs of St. Louis on the Midwest expansion map, and distance has slowed to a crawl. Just got to 171. But I was impressed when we went over the Mississippi before, so I would love to see it again. But not sure that we will here. They may have only modeled it on that one interstate. Which I get. You do what you can, because yeah, now we're ticking down at kind of the normal clip. We're already up to 162. So we did lose a minute of time. And of course we have traffic, which is not going to help. So much sadness. Come on. Oh boy. Because yeah, they're not even going the speed limit. This is always frustrating. They're literally all going about the same speed, like nobody is moving. Someone please exit and give them room. Of course not.
Go straight on.
Alright, now they're stopping for some reason. Okay. Oh, Ahmed gave us 5,400. Not a bad payday. I was getting ready to move over to the right. Alright, I'm pretty sure we just keep going. We do. Because I know 64, unless I'm totally remembering wrong, 64 does go into Louisville. So this should just take us, alright, Mount Vernon and Effingham.
Go straight on.
So I've gone through Effingham, Illinois before, and they just love to make fun of their name to some degree. I don't know if they don't like it, whatever it is, but if you ever get a chance to eat breakfast, you're likely going to hear the local joke of where the locals will tell you, don't order the bacon. Tell them you want the effing ham. So and then they all just laugh really loud because they think it's hilarious, and it's funny. But I'm sure if you live there and you say it over and over to everybody that comes through town, it's not as hilarious, but it's a really tiny town, so you got to do what you got to do to keep yourself entertained, and maybe just seeing everybody's reaction to it is just worth it. I don't know. I was mildly entertained. It lasted maybe a second, and then we kind of moved on, but anyway. That is what I always remember whenever I see Effingham on a sign in southern Illinois, is that wonderful thing. And maybe that's what they do it for, so that you have a lifelong memory and you never forget their little town, and they therefore exist in reality because they float around in people's memories who have passed through, been told the corniest joke in the world, and never forget it. So, who's the foolish one, me or them? I'll let you decide. And you can share it in the comments if you want, and that's okay. Even if you pick me, I'll be okay. So, let me know. Alright, 100 miles to go. 6 minutes. Somehow we've lost 2 minutes of time. So, like I said, see, you suddenly think you're like on schedule. Oh, wait, now we're back to a minute of time that we lost, so, or really ended up where we were at to begin with. Who knows? I guess we are going to tap dance through Indiana a bit here, but then we will quickly get into Kentucky. Maybe not. Maybe it'll just pop right over it just before we hit Louisville. Maybe we'll be in Indiana the whole time till then. I just know 64 goes into Louisville. I somewhat remember Louisville being in like a little bump. 2995 from Thomas. We get the right couple deliveries here.
Go straight on.
No, we need, like I said, 160, probably a little more Evansville, Indiana. There you go. So, a couple surprises. I was not expecting to have any new discoveries other than maybe Louisville. So, we've gotten 2, and obviously should get 3, although we may have already had Louisville. I don't know.
Go straight on.
So, I don't recall if Louisville is something we have had the pleasure of discovering yet or not. We've got those weird painted kind of they are lanes, they aren't lanes things here. So, I don't know. It almost seems, and it could just be because we just want to be done, but it seems like they drag the miles out here. Like we're not moving at the same pace. I don't know why. We clearly are, but we're up to 75 again, so I can quicken the pace a bit. I was getting a little worried. I'm like, things are not painting up there. Please, let's not fall off the map here.
Go straight on.
Alright, well, there's lots of gas and rest in these places. Alright. Whoops. So, our total odometer reading on our truck coming up on will be right around 4,700 by the time we end. So we are definitely putting on the miles, but again, on a truck, hundreds of thousands of miles are not a big deal. I still think 1,000,000 is a big deal, but I don't know. Not been a trucker. Not talked to any trucker that ever has had that. I've heard of people say I'm a 1,000,000-mile trucker, like they themselves have driven 1,000,000 miles, but I'm assuming that's not all in one truck. That's just their logged miles, which is crazy when you think of it anyway. But, you know, and I think as people, we probably get to that. Maybe, maybe not. Because it probably still takes most people at least 4 years to get to 100,000. So, but yeah, if you're driving for 40 years, I guess at that pace, you'd be at 1,000,000. But and that's not that big a deal if you get your license at 16, and by 56 you've been driving for 40 years. So, scary. I'm getting close, but I don't know how I'd ever figure out how many miles I've driven. I'd be totally guessing is how I would do it. Right, 11 miles, so this may be our exit, so I better be careful. I'm not seeing or hearing anything. Alright, I guess not. Must be another one, because now we're down to 5 miles. God, I hope we didn't miss something. That would be really disappointing, but I'm not seeing any flag. Right, it's telling me 4 miles. Clearly, now all I have is this crazy interchange.
And then continue straight on.
Alright, well, now I'm going to look, because I see. Alright. So maybe we're going to get, you know, again, it's Louisville, it's the Midwest expansion, so it could be in that mileage limbo now, because yeah, it's literally telling us 3 miles. But yeah, this is our exit, the next one there, and then we'll head up. So we have made it, but now is when we should be getting there, and obviously we're not. So it is liar. Because I'm not surprised if it's going to take us another 5 minutes by the time we finally get there. Although, down to 2 miles according to this. And yes, 4,694 miles. So, like I said, very close to 4,700, but not there yet. So again, we're looking for a Walmart. These lovely Midwest expansion cities. It looks like there's like a shelf over there where the tree is just sitting on it. All right, lights, come on. Nobody's gone by. It's 8 at night. I'm hungry. I want some Bob Evans. All right, and of course, I was going to say we're going to hit the normal turn and then stop at a light again, because we got to let the other side off and they get the green light the same time we do, so that we can all stop, which makes no sense, but that's how a lot of things are modeled. Question is it going to have us go left? Oh, there's Walmarts all over town, but that kind of makes sense. I see 2 of them. And then there's a Staples, a Faraz, a BHP Billiton. So, no, this is the part I do love about Midwest expansion, is just lots and lots of delivery points and pickup points. Obviously one and the same. And so yeah, what I can do, maybe I will, I don't know, we'll see, is you know, if I pick up jobs like right where I'm at,
Go straight on.
alright, go straight on. Like just, hey, I've dropped off at Walmart, now I'm just going to pick up another load and head away from Walmart. That could make things really effective, because I'm literally not driving empty at all.
Keep left and then turn left.
And there's a Chevron up there. Yeah, those Walmarts can see each other. I mean, they usually are close together. Usually not quite that close together, but it's a game, right? It's a sim. It's hard to tell where the entrance is to the Walmart, but I think it's on this road. There's a car there, so I'm going to swing wide, because I did see him pull up. I definitely don't want to clip anybody here. He's further over than I thought, but still. Alright, so this looks like just a distribution center versus a store.
Turn right.
So yes, I am going to swing wide enough here.
This is where it ends.
That's the mistake I had made before. Alright, and then we need to go around the back. And hopefully this is the right way, and it is the way the cars are parked. So it seems like a one-way. Let us see what we see. Alright. Yeah, it doesn't look like we could have come around the other way, so. But this is a tight yard. So I'll get in here, I know that. I can't tell you how much effort it's going to be, but I'll tell you that I will get in here. Alright, so let us begin that move. Again, these low boys are interesting for parking. Good news is it's a short stubby trailer on this side, and nothing on the other, so there's definitely some forgiveness here. The bad news is it's probably not going to be considered a very challenging parking job, so I'm probably not going to get a whole lot of points off of it, but it's alright. Alright. Alright, so we get our rear end kind of lined up. Try to straighten this out a bit. Alright. And then we'll swing it around, and that should do it. Yep, there we go. Let's see what we get. Alright. So see that proficiency bonus, that 21,000 bonus? That's the stuff that as we level up, that gives us a lot of benefit. So we definitely, want that. It's an important feature. Sorry, I'm looking for somewhere to make a note here. Alright, but yeah, we're skill ranked as high as we can. Definitely even with shorter jobs. See, so this is where, like, we could look at current company offers. Oh, because we've got a skill point to assign, it's not letting us see that. But, you can see we've got a lot of things, including just a quick run over like that we can do. So I'm not going to take anything specific, but my hope is we'll be able to find stuff. So I will see you next time.